Shaky handheld video time for ChinnyVision 2. Just got my 464 out of storage because I don't ever use it. I use my 6128 because I need to play Rodman. I don't have a cassette lead for my 6128. And although I've been sent images, which I can load into my Wi-Fi card there, that's what the point is. I've got a cassette here. In fact, the cassette is actually over here. So I'm going to be putting that in there very shortly. Well, let's put it in now. It's a nice cassette deck on the 464. But the reason I want to talk about this is, oddly enough, Rod, star of Rodman, is always making jokes about the size of the 464. And yes, it's very, very wide. It's a wide machine. And apologies for my untidy work desk here, but you can see it's wider than the 6128, far wider, far taller as well. Although not as tall as a... So it's not that bad compared to a BBC Micro. Once you put the cassette deck on the side, actually, it's not as wide as the BBC Micro would be with a cassette deck on the side. But why is it so big? Why is this machine so big? A couple of reasons. Firstly, the 464 case was designed before the innards were. Amstrad knew that one of the most difficult things of any electronics project, because they made hi-fis, was producing the case. Get out the shadow there. So Bob Watkins, the kind of chief draftsman, kind of engineering guy at Amstrad, designed this way before Roland Perry and that lot who designed the insides were on board. And they didn't know what it was going to look like. So when Roland Perry came along, because he was the second guy to attempt an internal design for this, the first guys literally kind of had to ditch it. Literally one went officially missing person. When Roland Perry came along, he was presented with this case and how big the board could be, where all the screw holes were, and so on. So he had this space to fit the machine inside. Alan Sugar had specified two things. One, the tape deck had to be built in, and two, it had to look like a proper computer. And he said, in those days, the place you saw computers was at an airport. That's where most people saw computers. He wanted it to look like the kind of professional system that you check in to when you checked into the airport. So it is big. He didn't want it looking like I've got a Spectrum in this somewhere, 48K down there. Can't get it out at the moment. Actually, I can get it out. Let's get my... I just realised the knackered 48K is... That's my good 48K that sits in a freezer bag. In fact, that's ridiculous, isn't it? Let's get the knackered one, which is over here. How professional these videos are. That's what's on ChinnyVision 2. Look, look at the size of that compared to that. And even the depth of the things that kind of approximate it. You can see there. But as I say, this was a kind of... It was designed before the insides were. And Roland Perry always says the 6128 is the machine he feels what is kind of the optimum size and what he wanted one of these computers to look like. So, you know, 628 is obviously a far more normal size. And obviously once Amstrad did this, they were stuck with it. So you end up with a ridiculous situation when you've got the cost-down versions, when you've got to put a board up in the corner there. And all this is empty. This is a 1988 model. I think late 88, and yeah, it's a cost down, and yeah, the board only goes bump, bump in there, and then wires across to the tape deck there. So that's why the machine is so big, basically. It's a kind of, it's an example of, yeah, they kind of, the product requirements at the time, and Amstrad didn't really know what they were doing. Well, they knew what they were doing, it's just, they were designing a computer, it had to look professional, it was all about the looks, and they were worrying about the insides later. Anyway, I'm off to play Rodman.